7:30 in the morning and everything in between. I'm done. I'm like, Aaron's off, he's been off there working the last 2 days, and so I'm like, I feel like I'm one of those moms that is so happy her spouse has the day off because you get to leave the kid with the dad and go somewhere. I'm like done with puppy duty. Aaron's off the next 4 days and he is in charge. Yes, sir.
So he had a day off and he stole it from him.
That's what family's for, man. Share the burden.
Mommy needs a day off.
Yeah. I arranged the furniture today. That's a big deal for me. Hey, how many of you know the 23rd Psalm or know of the 23rd Psalm? Okay, when you hear about or you hear the 23rd Psalm quoted, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, what do you think of? Anyone? Anyone?
Dark place.
Dark place. What else?
Valley.
Death, fear.
Valley, death, fear. What else? Trust. Strength. You guys are good. Anyway, so Psalm 23. Please turn with me to it. You hear all the rattling of the bones? You hear that? It's so weird. So I'm gonna read in the Amplified. The Lord is my shepherd. To feed, guide, and shield me, I shall not lack. He makes me lie down in fresh tender grass pastures. He leads me beside the still and restful waters. He refreshes and restores my life, myself. He leads me in the paths of righteousness, uprightness, and right standing with him, not for my earning it, but for his name's sake. Yes, though I walk through the deep, sunless valley of the shadow of death, I will fear or dread no evil, for you are with me. Your rod to protect me and your staff to guide me, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My brimming cup runs over. Surely only goodness and mercy and unfailing love shall follow me all the days of my life, and through the length of my days, the house of the Lord and his presence shall be my dwelling place. When I first heard this, I was raised in a Baptist church. And there are some really hot, fiery Baptist church, and then there's some that when they read everything, it sounds the same. Oh, I'm joyful today. Oh, I'm unhappy today. And that's the kind of church I was kind of raised in. Every emotion was kind of flat. There wasn't really any, yay, Jesus, or ooh, you. It was always just kind of, And so when I heard the 23rd Psalm, all I ever heard was definite. Yo, yay, though I walk in the valley of the shadow of death. And the reality of it is, that is David declaring, making a declaration of what he expects his life to be in Jesus, in the Lord, what he expects his Lord to give him. Now, I believe that everything we go through is a lesson. I believe that daily things, I'm talking daily, like putting on your shoe and tying your shoestring, can be a lesson. God speaks to me in a way of understanding, and that way is in the simple, everyday things, right? Every once in a while you talk to someone and you say something really profound. Has anybody read that happen? Like you said something that sounded so much smarter than you really are? So last week that happened to me. I said something that I thought was really smart. I'm like, yay, I have intelligence in there somewhere. Someone called me and they're like, Christina, my life is falling apart. I don't know what to do. And they were crying. And they're like, this is falling apart and this part's falling apart. And my hair wouldn't go right. My lipstick went on sideways, and my eyelashes are falling out, and I mean, everything that could be going wrong was going wrong for this person. And I said, you know what you're doing? You're walking through a valley of shadows, a dark valley, and I said, you have your eyes on the things of death. And that's where this picture kind of came out. I had Sophie draw this because I can't draw.
She's good.
She's really good. And this was done in like an hour.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know. My kids got all the talent, I didn't. This is what I saw. When I was talking to this lady, I saw a valley. And I saw her walking through it. And I saw hands of her past and of her day-to-day routines reaching out to pull her back and keep her from moving towards the cross. Because I believe we walk through the valley, but in the mountains there is Jesus. That time where we are just refreshed and touched by God. And that is our mountain time. But in this picture, she's like, got these chains, like these things is pulling her back. And instead of looking forward to the cross, looking forward forward to the light. She was looking to the side, looking at the circumstances, looking at the broken relationships, looking at her eyelashes falling out and her lipstick sideways, and couldn't praise Jesus at all. Are any of you in situations where you just really feel like, God, you know, I'm sunk, and I really don't feel happy about life right now? And you want me to do what? The song tonight, We Give You the Highest Praise. I don't know if you guys realize that we were kind of in a rowboat of mud for a little bit there. Kind of people were like, I'm a church. And then we started singing that refrain. And you could feel that break. You know, and we give you our highest praise. And that's what I was singing. We give you our highest praise. You know what the highest praise is? It's when you unzip your little flesh knife, unzip yourself. And this is my vision. You know, I just unzip the Christina suit, and I step out of it, and I leave all the crap behind that is my flesh, and I praise Him despite it. Despite it. I raise my hands when they feel too heavy to raise. I shout even though I'm the only one shouting 90% of the time. You hear? That's me. Because sometimes, well, most of the time, I'm fighting with myself to even be worshiping the Lord. It's not a habit, a routine, or a demonstration for you. It is something within myself that I use to combat my situations. The blood of Jesus, the light of Jesus, the light of the cross, breaks our chains of our past. Breaks our chains. God doesn't remember yesterday if we've given it to Him. He doesn't. How far is the east from the west? Anyone? Anyone?
How what?
How far? Yeah, see, you've not paid attention. Summer. How far is the east from the west, Sophia? One scarred hand to the other.
I love that song.
Me too.
That's awesome.
And we are so quick to forget it. And we sit there and we remind the Lord, well, you can't possibly love me because when I was 2.5, I threw my toy, it hit my brother in the head, the dog then chewed it and choked and died. And my parents won't ever let me forget it. So you can't love me. You can't love me because when I was 13, I decided to have a sexual relationship. You can't forgive me because I looked at pornography. You can't forgive me because I'm addicted to meth. You can't forgive me, God. And the reality of it is He already has. That forgiveness is unending and unconditional. It's you that hasn't forgiven yourself. It's you're the one reminding the enemy of all your failures. And you know what he does with them? He has little guys hanging around. Let me see. Christina is afraid of people. Fear of failure. Insecure. Not very much fun sometimes. And yells at her kids. Fights with her husband on Monday. Okay, so what's going to happen on Monday? Everything that can irritate me in the whole wide world is going to happen on Monday. Why? Because that's the day I fight with my husband. And the enemy knows it. And I'm going to say, oh Lord, I'm going to fast fighting with my husband on Monday. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. And what does he do? He wakes up, where's my socks? Where's my uniform? Are my clothes dry? Honey! Oh, yes, dear. I love you! That's how we are, right?
Yeah.
The enemy comes in, and he rushes in like a flood, and he says, you know what? Here's all your stuff. Here it is. I have notes on my hand, Sophie. Notes on my hand. But you are the ones giving him those notes. Because you can't forgive yourself. Christ, you already walked through the valley. He went before you. He made the path straight. He got to the mountain with his presence. When he went to the cross, he walked there. And he walked through your valley. He walked through your shame. He walked through your doubt, your unforgiveness. He walked through it all. And his blood, as it shed, cleansed it all from your life. And when you choose to believe that and you choose life over death, you give God power to work in your situation. Hey, I had a house. Well, I have a house. That other people set up for me. Because I was sick when my house got set up. Men may not understand this, but women do. How many of you cannot handle when your house doesn't look right? Okay? Drives you nuts, doesn't it? You sit there and you watch it, and you watch it, and you watch it, and you watch it, until you just can't handle it anymore, and you get the skeleton laugh. what? My living room is so small, it can really only go one way. Today, I taught it could go a different way. And so I got my niece's legs because we couldn't move the big, ginormous old TV we have that I hate, that I can just toss out and never see again and be fine with it. We moved the TV in the corner, and the kids are like, how are we going to watch TV? We're not. It's there in case of an emergency. Like my niece comes to visit and she needs to watch The Lion King, so she stands out of my hair. That's an emergency in my world. Okay? And I rearranged my living room, and all of a sudden there's all this room that I didn't know I had. And I can sit down and be peaceful. God is rearranging some of your minds with your circumstances. And you have looked at it and looked at it. Do I go to college? Do I not go to college? Do I go to college? Do I not go to college? I can't fill out financially, and I can't do this, and I can't do that, and I can't do that. And I look at all the debt. And God is saying, you know what, get up off your keister, let's go down there. Because there's a Christian brother or sister who will go down there with you, and we'll do this together. Those of you who are looking into college, Jennifer Vaughn does that for a living. Takes the seniors at the high school and helps them fill out financial aid, and should be willing to do it for you too. Do I stay in this relationship where I'm living with the guy and I'm having sex with the guy, but I want to go to church and I want my life renewed and I want God to move in my life, but I'm choosing sin? Do I stay or do I go? What's the answer, guys? Go. Not that you have to leave him. You know, if you come into this church, you come as you are. We want you. We love you. I don't care what you're doing because Jesus does it. He just wants you to hear with him. But there comes a time in life when you want the blessing of God on it, that you have to make hard decisions. And sometimes those hard decisions would be like, well, sweet cheeks, we either need to tie the knot, or you need to go stay at your brother's house until we do. Because I want God's blessing on my life. Because God's presence and God's blessing is more important than anything else.
Yeah.
Because I want to see where we can go in God, because I know if we don't have him, we're going to be divorced in 5 years. There comes a time where you have to make the hard choices. There comes a time where you have to take your child and throw them out the door. 35-year-old still sitting at home. Go get a job, son. It's time. God is telling you guys, go get a job. I'm not talking about the job that you work at. He's saying, come on, get in my word.
Yeah.
Start feeding yourself. Oh, I don't like what that person said on Wednesday night. Oh my gosh, he's so offensive. If you don't like to pick up the Bible, I'm offended every week, because if you don't think that I learn what I teach you first, you're wrong. God said, get up off your keister and clean your stinking house, Christina. And it wasn't even that bad. I've been doing really good. But he says, how long are you going to sit there and let it fester? Till you just hate other people? Don't come in my house. We already overcome that. How long are you going to sit there and let the enemy dictate what your life is? Aren't you kind of done with it? My husband and I have some issues with the IRS, and you know what? I don't like them. I don't. And they're nosy, and they want to know everything. And the reality of it is I had ignored them for years and wasn't afraid of them, because that's usually what it is. It's fear. Fear drives us to react in ways that are negative, that are against God. Fear. I'm afraid to get married because what if we get a divorce? And instead of just dealing with today's issues, okay, today I had to get up and I had to earn a living and feed my kids and go home and do it all again tomorrow. But then I'm going to take on, well, what if we get married and our life screws up? What else do we take on? What if my husband doesn't want to work and I'm the one supporting the whole family? What if once we get married, my wife's going to take the checkbook and shop until we're broke? And we sit there and we worry and we stew over things that aren't even here yet. So what does that make us do? Instead of walking through the valley and getting to where we need to be, we sit there. I'm in the valley, I'm in the valley, I'm in the valley. God said get out of the valley. And you're not. Like my little dance clap there.